Hello, Money Multipliers. Welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kessler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? So y'all, if you did not hear, just yesterday, registration went live for the 3-day Mastermind in October. Nashville, Tennessee, October 10, 11, 12, the Money Multiplier Mastermind. This is an event that I put on every year. It's really more focused towards folks. Maybe you are learning about the infinite banking concept. You want to come out and learn even deeper into it. But really, this event is more catered towards folks who are utilizing their policies and how they can deepen their knowledge and utilization even further. So the whole team is going to be there. Myself, Chris Noggle, my father, Brent, the whole entire implementation team, some application team folks will be there. So you can come out and meet the entire team in person. Y'all, I even have like some of the top head honchos of the insurance company home offices coming out too. They're going to give some really cool presentations, and I promise y'all it's not going to be boring, because trust me, when I go out and I speak live, one of the things that I am just not fond of is it's a lot easier to get up on stage and speak and be at that event rather than just sitting in the audience and listening all day. It gets a little draining, right? So no, this is going to be very high energy, a lot of information and knowledge, and we can have those interactions one-on-one together too. So there's a VIP level and then also a GA level. So for my VIP folks, it's going to be a private pre-party the night before with all of the speakers, the entire team. We're going to have a live band in Nashville, so I'm so excited about that. I even got it to the point. I said, no, Mom, Dad, we're not just going to have like one guy playing his guitar. I want drums. I want like a whole band. So I'm excited for that. And then, so also on that VIP level, you get a mystery box from us, a whole bunch of goodies in there, and I promise it's going to be worthwhile. And then also VIP seating for those days too. Now, the event location is really cool. It's about 2 blocks away from Broadway Street, and that's where all of the live music goes nightly. And actually at this hotel, they will take you in the golf cart from the hotel to Broadway Street, so you don't have to walk or get an Uber. I mean, yeah, it's only 2 blocks away, but I thought that would be a cool little fun experience too. So I'm super excited. So I got Stephen Nagy coming out. He's going to MC the entire event for us. And I got a lot of really good folks who are going to come and teach, and just even my friends who are just going to come and attend the event too. So I'm excited to get the gang all together. So thanks for bearing with me. I know at the beginning we were going to host it in May, and I told y'all the reason we couldn't host it in May is because there was an issue at the location. Pipes burst. There we go. Pipes burst in the garage level. And actually, there was one weekend where my mom and I were in Nashville. I took her out to one of my favorite podcasts I listen to. They're having a live show. And I said, Mom, I got 2 tickets. Come on, can you come with me? And so we went up there for the weekend. And while we're in town, we're like, well, crap, we're already here. Let's just stop in. We didn't make an appointment, which I know was very bad. I'm sorry, y'all. But we just stopped into the hotel and we said, hey, could we maybe just tour the event space that we're going to be hosting this mastermind at? So they allowed us to do that. They're very awesome people, super, super nice and sweet. So they allowed us to come in and tour the space. And I'm telling you, you guys would have hated me if I hosted it in May, because all of the construction, you could literally hear it inside of that meeting room. So I'm glad we decided to postpone the event, and thank you y'all for bearing with us as we get together the details, pushing it out further for this year. But I'm super excited. So go snag your tickets. Right now it's the early bird prices. So if you go and purchase the tickets today, you're going to save yourself $200. So go and purchase those early bird tickets, lock in your seats, because I got very, very limited space here for this event. So thank you y'all for being here on another episode. I'm here every single week, every Tuesday. And I think this is an episode that I'm really, really, really excited about, because this is just something that I feel so passionately about. something that sometimes folks just don't really want to talk about or think about when it comes to just our livelihood. So I'm very excited for today's episode. And before we get into it, go to our events page, because even if you can't make it to the 3-day live TMM Mastermind, I'm traveling all around the country. This weekend, I'm going to be down in Denver, Colorado. I have California coming up. Okay, so for all my California folks, I'm going to be seeing you in July. So it's going to be in SoCal. So holler at me if you want to come out to that event. But just let me know. We always post our live events on the website, themoneymultiplier.com. And with that being said, let's get into the episode. So I know my podcast is always talking about the infinite banking concept, but this concept is really just the foundation or one moving part to your entire financial picture. So, right, one of the reasons that we practice this concept and the main reason that everybody talks about it is, well, how can I become my own banker? How can I leverage the cash value in the policy to go and finance the thing that I'm already buying in life? So, there is, though, a moving part, right? Because the product or the vehicle that we're using is a whole life policy. Now, when we're talking about IBC, it's got to be specifically engineered for immediate high cash value, but there's going to be a death benefit on this policy, whether we like it or not. And so that death benefit is very, very important, just because it's not an if we die or graduate is the word I like to use. It's when we graduate. That death benefit is going to get paid out tax-free lump sum to whoever you named as your beneficiary. And yeah, you can name multiple people as your beneficiary. Maybe you have 4 kids, 25% each to all of them. Or maybe you have your spouse. You want to name them as your primary beneficiary, and then your children as the contingent beneficiaries. So there's so many different things of how you can structure these policies and creating that legacy wealth building aspect for you and your family. But that death benefit is so important, because if you think about it, it is the only insurance in life that's actually guaranteed to happen. Isn't that kind of funny that we spend a lot of money on these other insurances that, yes, I know probably by law we got to have them, like car insurance, or maybe depending on where you live, flood insurance, fire insurance. But those are all hypotheticals. You don't know when you're going to get into your car that, hey, I'm going to get into a automobile crash today. Or, hey, my son left my stove on all night long, or my daughter left her straightener on and it just put the house into flames, right? Or we got an electrical fire. You don't know if those things are actually going to happen, but you have that insurance in place to protect yourself in the event of a catastrophic event. So why do we neglect the insurance that's actually guaranteed to happen? That is my number one. And I know most of the time when people talk about insurance, they say, well, hey, go buy term because term's cheap. And you just want to buy the cheapest insurance that you can get for the most amount of death benefit. Y'all, no, because we're not properly taught how term insurance actually works. I know I'm kind of going off on a fork in the road here, but I was just talking to a gentleman earlier this week where he has a term policy. He's age 62. It's going to expire because it's at that end of the term, and his premium is going to go up almost triple the amount just because of the age that he's at right now. And he's like, well, shit, what am I going to do now? I really don't want to spend all of this money on this stupid term insurance. So that's why I think it's just so important that permanent life insurance is there. That's just my humble opinion. Yeah, some of you naysayers will say, well, I'm self-insured. I don't need insurance. Y'all, no, there's so much more, because as I get into today's episode, we need to protect the wealth today so that then we can transfer it tomorrow. I understand that maybe you don't care about leaving your family members or charitable organizations or whoever your wealth that you have, but at the same time, you can't die with your money, okay? They're not going to be putting it into your casket as they're putting dirt over your head, putting you into the ground. So I think it's important just to leave a legacy, maybe not to your family, but maybe to the community, and serving that social legacy to them. So we'll kind of talk about that. But I kind of want you guys to picture how your financial structure should really lie. And I kind of think about it almost like a triangle in a way. Okay, so if you think about it, the foundation of that triangle, that I would say we would categorize as number one, financial education. Okay, so financial education is very, very important, and nobody really likes to take the time to spend and learn it because you guys want to go out and do all the fun stuff, which I get. You should be able to do that, live your life, but be a sponge, soak in and absorb information, and keep furthering your knowledge base. Your brain is just a muscle, so put that muscle to work, because if you don't, you're just going to lose that muscle as time goes on. And it's the same thing, right? I think about, I don't want to put her on blast, so I shouldn't say that, but I think about a family member that she's losing mobility just because she wants to sit in her chair all day long, and she doesn't want to go out and put her muscles to work, her legs and her walking muscles to work, right? So financial education is just so important, because if you don't keep training that muscle and keep learning and absorbing new things, you're going to lose it. So I would say one thing of the foundation building blocks is financial education. I think financial awareness, and I talk about this a lot, budgeting, understanding where the money's going every month, how much is coming in, and not just flying through that black box thinking, hey, fingers crossed, everything's going to be okay. So I think financial awareness should definitely be in that foundation building blocks too, on the bottom level of our triangle. I tell you guys all the time, I use the app called Rocket Money. I got my entire family on this app. Besides my parents, they got their own bookkeeper that they go and pay and have on payroll. But for myself and my siblings that we run our own businesses, we use Rocket Money. We love it. Along with, our other financial professionals like our CPA, our trust professionals, and our estate attorney guys. But it's just important to understand on a personal and even business level what's coming in the door, what's going out, and where the money is going each and every month. And then lastly, on that final foundation level should be your IBC policy. Okay, so this is our saving strategy. Where are we keeping and warehousing the money at? And that should be within inside of your whole life policy with a mutually owned insurance company. My humble opinion, I understand some of y'all will say, well, no, Hannah, I'm going to go put my money into stocks. And then when I'm 30, 40 years into the future, this is going to be great. I'm going to be a millionaire. Y'all, I was actually listening to my favorite podcast show, and somebody came on and said that, hey, put your money into stocks because in the future it's just going to explode and you're going to be a millionaire. Which, okay, you could be is the big underlying word. I don't want could. I want to have. I want the guarantees, the definite that this money is going to be here no matter what else is going on within the financial world. So not even financial world, it could be the political world, or maybe we go to war one day. I don't know. Anything could happen. This is life, right? So anyways, I'm getting a little passionate here, but that's why I think it's so important of where we are warehousing and keeping the money at. And in my humble opinion, it should be the whole life policy with a mutually owned insurance company. So we kind of have those three sections here in the bottom tier. Now let's move up to one tier up, okay? In our triangle, we got one tier. We're going to move up now. In there, all right, we got our insurances, okay? The property and casualty, the personal liability, the auto, the home, umbrella insurance, okay? So we got that because we want to protect our wealth. Then next to it, we got our debt strategy. How are we buying the things that we're buying in life? Or how are we paying off this debt that maybe we had to accumulate? Student loans. I just talked to a woman earlier this week. She racked up a lot in credit card debt because she wanted to learn about real estate investing. Okay, it's great, right? It's okay to go into debt. It's almost like starting a business. It's okay to go into debt because the whole priority and goal is that in the end, I'm going to be farther ahead. I'm going to be cash flowing more income is coming into my family. So I'm okay to go into this little bit of debt because it's just going to accelerate me to that next level in my lifetime. So, then we got our debt strategy. How can I manage and control that debt that I have for myself? Because not all debt is bad debt. Go watch my episode where I talk about that. And then, right, so insurance and our debt strategy. Now, I'll even add too, okay, to the insurance bucket, I think it's also important, you got your health insurance, your disability insurance, even long-term care. Okay, I know a lot of you people know about us over here at the Money Multiplier because we talk all the time about the infinite banking concept, whole life policies. But y'all, we do other things within our business. So, if folks come to me, they want asset protected long-term care, or maybe they have a business, they want to do key man insurance on their employees, or maybe they're in business partnership with somebody and they want to have some buy-sell agreements there. There's other things that we do within us, and that's why I think it's important. Just hop on the phone and talk, okay? Just talk to us about what's going on. So, we covered our bottom level, financial education, financial awareness, and then IBC, the infinite banking concept where we're saving and storing the money. Then the next level up, we have our insurances and then the debt strategy. Now the next one up from that, it should be maybe some living trust or asset protection. And so I'm going to go deeper into asset protection and estate planning here in a moment. And then from there, how do we really build on our cash flow management? Our profits first. How am I going to control that cash flow? How can I go put this money to work for me even harder so that I can keep bringing in more and more cash flow for myself? So, that cash flow management there, the investment strategy, and then finally up at the top, that's just the final building block of having true financial freedoms for ourselves. So that's how I kind of want you to picture your financial life here. Now, with this, we kind of start with the infinite banking concept as putting the policies on ourselves first, which I think is great. I think we should start by insuring ourselves first, maxing out ourselves. But what if I have a spouse, or what if I have children or grandchildren, people within my downline? Even siblings, or even the key people in my business. Heck, I own a policy on my best girlfriend, and she helps me run my podcast show, does my social media accounts. Without her, I would be lost. I need her, and without her, I would have some lost revenue. So that's why I have that insurable interest there on her to help me so that I'm protecting myself and my business in the event of an unseen circumstance. So my suggestion to y'all, and this is a question I get a lot, is, hey, Hannah, we're talking here. It's myself and my spouse, and we want to do this. Now, should I do it on the policy on me? Do I do it on my spouse? Do I do it on my children? Because it's going to be cheaper if I do it on my children. I'll be honest, I hate that sentence. Okay, I get it. And I understand where the thinking is coming from. But no, just because you put the policy on somebody who's younger than you, yeah, that $1 of premium is just going to buy them more in death benefit compared to somebody who's older. But when it comes to this concept, it does not affect the cash value and how we're utilizing the cash and that cash performance within the policy. So even though you may be older than your children or maybe even your spouse, what I think is the number one best way to start is put the policy on the breadwinner of the family. Okay, so I think the most perfect way to do it is put it on the matriarch and the patriarch of the family first. Do both of them at the same time. And it's very easy. Let's say someone comes to me and they say, Hannah, I want to do $10,000 a year as my policy premium. And I'm just making up numbers because y'all know you can decide how much you want to deposit into your policy. So let's just say that they come to me and they want to do $10,000 a year in policy premium. So what I would say is take that premium and just split it down the middle. Half on you and then half on your spouse. So now both of y'all got the death benefit protection in the event that something were to happen to one of y'all or even both of y'all. Because, right, you guys got children, you need to protect them. You have debts like maybe mortgages and other things that are out there, and you don't want to burden the family with that in the event of a premature death. So I think it's important to do both members of the family, or I should say the matriarch and patriarch first, and then go to the downline of the children. And I'm not saying you can't do the entire family at the same time, but if I had a preference, go for mom and dad first, because as history has it, mom and dad are supposed to pass before the children, and that's where the legacy and the generational wealth of this concept come into play. So now, maybe you might be thinking to yourself, well, Hannah, I already got all this insurance on me. I really don't need any more insurance. And that's fine. That's fine. That can be your own personal opinion. I would even go deeper to say, well, is it term insurance? Is it going to be work insurance that after you leave that employer, the insurance is no longer there? I mean, hey, just think about it a little bit harder than just thinking, well, I got insurance today, so I'll be fine. Think farther ahead in the future. That's rule number 3 of Nelson Nash is think long range. Yes, it's important to be present, live in the present moment, and think about today, but think long range. What could happen 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road? And just make sure you're setting yourself up for that success. So, anywho, I kind of got off on a little tangent. But I think it's important to ensure the matriarch and patriarch of the family first and then go to the downline of the children. And I do think it's important to educate the children on this concept and bring them within the family banking business, have them understand how and why you're buying things for the family, different assets that you're accumulating. So, start the children out young, okay? Like myself, I got my first policy when I was 18 years old. Y'all, I think that is the best thing that my father has ever did for me. Even my younger brother, he actually just turned 23 yesterday. So happy birthday, Zach. We love you. He's on a cruise right now with my older brother. But even my brother, he has his own policies. My older brother has policies. He has them on his spouse. He's got them on his children. So my niece and nephew even are practicing this concept within their life. And we're just educating them on the cash value standpoint of it, but then also even the I'm getting a little distracted. Daisy's in my lap. She's so cute today. But, so they're educating them on the cash value standpoint of it, but then also talking about in the future, hey, if something were to happen to mom and dad, what's going to happen next? So start them off at a young age, because if you think about it, there's actually this video, right? So you guys have seen it. It's the backwards bicycle video on YouTube. It's like a 7.5-minute video from a YouTube channel called Smarter Every Day. And on that video, it talks about how children have more of that neuroplasticity than what adults do. So it's just easier for them to pick up on new ideas all the time. It just takes them lesser time to pick up on that stuff and create better and newer habits compared to adults. Learning a new language, or in that video, riding the bicycle backwards. So teach them at a young age about what's going on in the family monetary life, because I'm telling you, it's going to pay off. I'm sitting here at freaking 24 years old. I would never imagine my lifestyle being the way that it is growing up where, mom and dad were having bickering matches because they were in debt at the chiropractic offices, or, hey, we're one payment away from having the car repoed from us, right? So it's just nice to have that security behind you when you're doing your financial planning for yourself. Now, another reason why I think it's so important to educate the children about this, because, debt is a problem here in America. And, the children, maybe they want to go to college, or like my woman or lady that I was talking about earlier, she racked up a whole bunch of credit card debt because she wanted some knowledge on the real estate investing world. Well, instead of maybe going into all of that debt, by leveraging credit cards or just spending cash on this debt or taking out bank loans, how about we do it within the infinite banking policy? So, for my folks who are listening to me on a podcast right now, I would maybe go over to the YouTube channel, because I do want to post up some numbers. You don't have to. This is really just more for my analyticals on this call right now. But, what if my people, like my children, they wanted to come to me and they say, hey, well, I want to go to college, or I want to go to hairdressing school, or I want to go be a monk and not work for the next 10 years. I'm just making up random examples. But so for this, there are ways that you can utilize a policy to fund for these big lifestyle expenses, college, weddings, down payments on our first house. So look right here. And I won't get deep into this. This is one of the things that we're going to cover as we go through the Money Multiplier Mastermind in October. We're going to have a lot of analytical data, if that is sort of you, along with some other stuff. It's not all going to be analytical, because let me tell you, my dad would be like pulling his hair out of his head. But in this example here, and this is an example that we've been using for a long time. It's called the Larry Lucky Genes. And then after this one, I'm going to show you briefly Vivi Lucky Genes. All right, Vivi is Chris Nagel's daughter. But so here you can kind of see the highlighted here. You see how for the first 10 years they're paying $15,000 a year as premium into their policies. So this individual is paying $15,000 a year into the policy for 10 years and then not paying any more premium. You're probably asking me, well, Hannah, why did they stop paying the premium? Well, that's just my example here. I'll show you the Vivi Lucky Genes one. So for the first 10 years, they're paying $15,000 a year, which equates to $150,000 over the course of the 10 years. So $150,000 went in as our true outside pocket net injection. So let's say that this individual, by the time that they turn 18, they want to go to college. And this college is going to cost them $20,000 a year. So what are they going to do? They're going to pull out this cash value that's sitting in the policy, a little over, or I should say even like a little under $225,000 in cash value. So they're going to take out about $220,000 in cash value from the policy, and then they're going to go and fund for their college expense. So they pay $20,000 for 1, 2, 3, and then 4 years. So they paid a total of $80,000 for college. Now, in this example here, they are not paying back their policy loans. They're going to have their loans outstanding, and they're just simply paying the annual loan interest. No more monies is going into the policy, and they're not paying back the policy loans. And you can kind of see that here because I have a column that's labeled cumulative cash flow received. And so you can see that these loans are still outstanding right here. So next, they don't pay it back. They go to college. They spend $80,000. Could they have spent more? Because I get it. We're here in 2024. It probably costs more to go to college now because of that hidden tax we love to call inflation. But so it's costing us more to maybe send the kids to college. So we could replace it. We could say it's going to cost us $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year to go to college now. Well, he could have taken that. He's got the money sitting here that he could have taken all of that out and totally 100% finance for that college bill. So, financing for college is a way that we can use the policy and create that pyramid. I told y'all that pyramid for our financial building blocks. We could keep going on if we wanted to. Let's say at the age of 26, they want to get married, and the cost of the wedding is going to cost them $30,000. Well, where do I pull the $30,000? I pull it right here from the cash value in the policy. Okay, so there's different ways of how you can finance these things instead of having to rely on other banks, financial institutes, and others to do these transactions. Now, let me flip over to Vivi Lucky Jeans here. So, Vivi, you are going to be a blessed and smart little girl, let me tell you. So, for Vivi, let's say that Vivi goes to college right here when she turns 18 years old. Now, I'll be honest. Knowing Chris Noggle, he's going to be like, Vivi, are you sure you really want to go to college? He's going to allow her to do whatever she wants, but let's be real. Vivi, do you want to go to college? This is me talking to you from a college dropout, okay? So, with this, that was even a podcast episode I was going to do. Let me tell y'all, my dad was like, hey, it'd be a really cool episode or a topic. You should do a topic that's labeled, I'm going to make $1 million a year with no college education. How cool of a freaking topic would that be? Okay, because honestly, I have my high school diploma. I got no other formal education besides that. But let me tell you, I know a lot more when it comes to our monetary world and other circles in our life than what other people do who are busting their ass working that 9 to 5, trying to pay off the student loan debt that they racked up, being miserable at that 9 to 5 job. So I'm just blessed. I'm very, very blessed and grateful to be where I'm at right now. But how cool of a topic would that be? So let me know if you guys want me to record something like that. So with this, Vivi, at 18 years old, she's going to go to college. And so what she's going to do, she's going to take out her cash value right here, and the college is going to cost her $20,000 a year. So what's she going to do? Pay for college for the next 4 years. You see these highlighted columns right here? This is going to be Vivi's college. And then same thing. Let's say at the age of 29, she gets married. Chris, I'm surprised you did age 29. I thought you'd be more like my father and say, hey, you're not going to get married till you're like 35, 40. But, what is she going to do? She's going to take out the cash value in the policy to go and pay for the wedding. And you know what is the coolest thing about this stuff, y'all? I don't have to speak to anybody like at the bank when I want to go down there and borrow money from them. Why do you need this money? How are you going to be paying us back? Can you even pay us back? Here's the interest we're going to charge you. I don't have to have that conversation because in my policy contracts, it's a contractual agreement between myself and the insurance company, and in there, it states that, hey, I'm a policy owner. I hold first rights to any cash value that's inside of my policy. So I don't got to talk to anybody to have that authority approval if I can go and take out this money for my policy or not. So freedom, y'all. IBC is just all about freedom and control. Freedom to do whatever I want, having the liberty to do what I please with my hard-earned money, and then having the control of it that I get to decide when I want to pay myself back, how much interest I want to charge myself, when I want to pay myself back, let alone if I don't even want to pay it back and I'm not subject to what the Fed decides to do or the market rates or the political environment we're in at the time. This is all within my own control. And I think that's just why I'm so passionate about it, because we are so misled in these other financial products that we're just misinformed. We're just misinformed as a general public here. And that's why I shout and I do this podcast and I'm just screaming from the rooftops to anybody who would listen to me, because I'm telling you, I'm second generation to this stuff. And this is how I've been funding my lifestyle over these past few years. Yeah, I'm still pretty fresh, pretty new. I've only been doing this going on 7 years now, but I'm going to do this until I am graduated, right? So, with that little soapbox out of the way, So let's say Vivi wants to have a wedding. 40,000 a year, it's good, or excuse me, 40,000 is what the wedding bill is going to cost us. And where does she pull it from? She pulls it from the cash value in the policy. You can even see the example here of the house down payment. For my YouTube folks, you can pause the screen, kind of analyze the numbers and what they all mean. Okay. Now, as I go down though, let's say Vivi has children. Okay. Let's say that Vivi's children needs to go to college. Well, what can Vivi do? Well, Vivi could pull from the policies that she started on her children, okay? Because you can start policies on kids. I'll tell you another little quick story. I had a call with a gentleman earlier this week, and he says, hey, I want to talk because I want to go and put a policy on my baby boy. And I say, congrats on your baby boy. What's their name? Oh, no, Hannah, the baby's not even here yet. My wife is only 4 months pregnant. I said, wait, hold on. We gotta wait until the baby is here, and we gotta have a social security number that comes through the mail to be able to put the policy on the baby. So once we have the social security number, then absolutely we can put the policy on the baby. I thought that was funny, and I told him I was gonna use him as one of my examples. Yeah, because I have another doctor. He called us up and did the same thing. He literally called us from the delivery room. Britt, I just had a new baby girl. Congrats, doc. No, I don't want any congratulations. I just want to know when I can put the policy on her. I just love it. I love when those light bulb moments go off because I'm telling y'all, it's fun. You're riding the bicycle backwards now. So even here, you know what Vivi could do is she can take her college fund, or excuse me, her kids' college funds. Now it's $30,000 a year because prices increase as time goes on. We understand that. So now it's going to cost them $30,000 a year. So what does Vivi do? She's going to pull it from the cash values that's inside the policy. And y'all, you can see right here, this accumulative cash flow, you can see that we are not paying back these policy loans. All they're doing is they're just taking from the policy. I encourage you to pay back policy loans. Don't just have that lazy money sitting somewhere in the local bank not doing anything. So pay back those policy loans if you have no other places to go and put the money to work in. And then finally, which I won't get deep into this right now. I know I got to do a whole episode probably on like retirement income using the policies. And that's one of the topics I really want to get into in the October Mastermind is how to supplement income rather than having 401ks or those other qualified plans that are out there. Because I'll tell you, this is my retirement strategy. So you know, even here, Vivi can take out retirement income, $90,000 a year, guaranteed. This is guaranteed tax-free income that Vivi can take out from her policy. So with this, y'all, you can see that we're truly creating a legacy in a family banking business within inside of ourselves. So with all of these little tiny attributes, I shouldn't even say tiny, they're huge, but with all of this, that's why I think it's so important to have those annual family banking meetings, okay? Because you know, here's another quick story. I guess I'm full of stories today, but I was talking to somebody earlier. I think it was last week. I was speaking with her, and you know, she just called me up, and I've never spoken to this woman ever before. And she met me. I was doing a webinar on a platform, and she says, "Hey, you know, I just need to talk this through with somebody, and I can really relate with you. You know, we're both females here, and I just want to talk with another female." And you know, I'm a little nervous. So my husband does everything with our finances. I really don't know what's going on, and I'm a little nervous if something were to happen to him. And also on top of that, he says that we have all of this money, and then, you know, he's going out there and he's being very frugal, and he's saying, "Hey, don't spend all that money. We have a short, limited little budget." And I'm just nervous. What if something were to happen to him and I don't know how to keep carrying on my family? On top of that, I have a child that has schizophrenia, and I'm caring for them. I am their provider when it comes to their livelihood. They're still living with us. I'm taking care of them when they have those episodes, and I'm just nervous. I don't know what to do. So again, I think it's important to have those annual family banking meetings, or also known as having a family office, okay? And go Google that stuff, okay? I'm by no means a professional in that area, but with my mentors, this is some of the conversations that we have within our own immediate family. But it's important to have those annual family banking meetings, take some time away to understand the financial position that the family is in at that time. And then I'll even add on to this. Hey, actually, for those annual family banking meetings, it can literally be a write-off, but go talk to your tax professional. I'm not a tax professional, but have the annual family banking meetings and then get on the same page. But then what I think is very, very important, especially when it comes to, the unforeseen times, okay? Maybe it's divorce or death or mental illness. Something happens within the family, and this is why estate planning is so, so, so crucial. So, y'all, I'm telling you right now, I didn't really think about this until a year or so ago when I really started diving in deeper into my family history and what we're doing over here. Because I mean, one thing that really got me thinking about it is that, like, my father, for instance, he will text myself and my two brothers. And actually, I literally just got it not too long ago. Let me go and find that text message thread. But he's talking about how every quarter he goes through and he monitors his net worth. And the reason he does it, here's what he says. One of my previous mentors, Dr. Eric, which is a chiropractor, one of my previous mentors once told me, whatever you track will grow, and whatever you track and report to others will grow exponentially. So this is, this is one of the reasons that I really listen to my dad and what he's doing over there. But he's just reporting his net worth to us, and he tracks it. He's been tracking it for almost 10 years now. And every single quarter when he goes in and he tracks this stuff, it keeps growing. So what if something were to happen to Pops? Okay. Is there a will set in place? Is there a trust? Are we going to have to go through probate? Is my brother and I going to get into a pissing match because he's mad that I got the house but he got the airplane, right? I mean, I don't know. So the big misconception around estate planning is that most folks think that estate planning is only for the rich and famous, the billionaires of the world, the athletes, the actresses, the musicians. But I mean, in all reality, everyone needs estate planning. And the rich and famous just need a little bit more, in my opinion. And they really need like estate tax planning. And it's just because they are more applicable to tax consequences and estate taxes. But regardless of your wealth, estate planning is the process of protecting our wealth regardless of our financial status and transferring the legacy to our heirs. It doesn't matter how wealthy we are, but family comes first in mind when we want to transfer our assets when we hit our graduation date. So, as I mentioned before, we want to protect the wealth today so that we can transfer the wealth tomorrow. So, without the will and testament, or what most commonly is known as our will, the state of residency will dictate how the wealth is distributed through the laws known as contestancy laws. So if the will is not established, these laws could come in and distribute our assets in a way we do not intend or hope for. So I think that a will is crucial when it comes to our building blocks and our building blocks and building that foundation along with other financial tools, like trust or living wills, our healthcare proxy, long-term care insurance, life insurance, disability income, etc., etc. So the idea of having this will is to protect our primary source of wealth building. It's your ability to go and work and to produce a salary and an income. And with this, it's also there to protect, our spouse, maybe minor children if we have a premature death. It's also there, it's even just to protect the wealth if we ever come mentally incapacitated or even physically, right? So if we can't go to work or if we have some mental health challenges going on, that could be reason why these wills are so important if we cannot make those sound mind decisions for ourselves. Or maybe you just want to leave a social legacy to your community through donations to a charity, which I kind of talked a little bit about. So, my position right now is being 24 years old. The most important part to me is just protecting the harmony in my family in the event of a premature death or graduation date due to my parents. And the will, it labels out the intentions and objectives and is clearly defined. Okay, so it's clearly defined in that will, and I want to keep those good relationships that I have with my family and siblings. Matter of fact, y'all, we were just in Hawaii and I was kind of thinking about this stuff, and I asked my parents, I said, hey, do y'all have a will? And they said, yeah. I said, have you looked at the will in a while? They said, no. And I said, hey, can you guys maybe go in and look at your will and revamp it on a regular basis? Because life happens, okay? We're going to have the windfalls, we're going to have the downfalls, and that's why it's important to keep up to date with those testaments within the will that are there. So I think I'm going to start incorporating it into our annual family banking meetings. Not saying that mom and dad have to show us the will. I actually don't even know the stance on that because, again, I'm just a young girl over here. But I don't know. Y'all educate me on this. Like, is it a not mandatory thing, but is it, just okay for somebody to show you their will? I would say yeah, right? Because as long as it's in good faith and I don't know, that's a little touchy subject, but anyways, I'm just kind of sitting over here pondering. But I'm going to be adding that to the annual family banking meetings. So having a will is crucial when you're creating that estate planning for yourself. And honestly, y'all, the planning process is very, very easy. Now, I shouldn't say it's easy, but it's clearly defined out. What you got to do is you got to go out there and you got to contact an estate planning attorney, and then they're the ones who are going to get the will and the documents drafted for y'all to sign. And I know these are topics that we really don't like to talk about or even think about, but we need to start doing it. Oh my gosh, like I kind of think about how Judge Marilyn always talks about, hey, I don't care what you're doing, whether it be a contract or receipt, you go grab the nearest toilet paper and crayon and you write on there that contract or that receipt. And I watch a lot of People's Court. I like Judge Marilyn. I think she's awesome. But like I think about it, even like when you're lending money, let's say to your friends and your family, that is the most crucial time that you would want those items labeled out because you don't want to have that disarray between you and that individual in that relationship that y'all have. If we have it clearly defined out, then it's just going to be better for the harmony of everybody involved if you do. So, due to this, I think it kind of leads to procrastination. And I understand that it costs money, right? It costs money for you to do this. Planning costs money. However, the failure to plan, this is what my dad always says, and I'll go on with my comment, but the failure to plan is the plan to fail. Brent Kessler. So, however, the failure to planning can be disastrous and can result in the loss of wealth or income. And so neglecting this estate planning can lead to lawsuits, tax consequences, and even breaking apart families. So it also must be reviewed on a regular basis because life happens, right? So I'm just kind of putting it at the forefront of your mind because probably not a lot of people are talking about this stuff unless you are really in the know with what's going on in your financial life. But, I think you should really take a look and sit down at your estate planning, your wills, and what you guys are doing within your own family meetings. Now, this is just my part one to this episode, okay? Because I am by no means any expert or professional in the estate planning world. I actually have my gentleman he's my CPA. I have another group, they do all of my trust stuff. And then I have our estate attorney. And I think I'm going to be bringing on my gentleman who's my CPA, my trust professional, who has estate planning attorneys within his firm. So he's the owner of the firm, and underneath of him, he's got his folks who help him there. But I'll be doing a part two on this because I really want y'all to get it from the horse's mouth of, FAQs or what's most important to people, or where do we even start? I guess why I'm procrastinating so much is because I don't even know where to start. And I told you on today's episode, where you start is by contacting an estate planning attorney. And if you want one, I'll turn you on to my guy. Okay. So let's talk about this real quick. Okay. Because I found this very interesting. As my last comment, I know I'm going very long in today's episode. Hopefully this is helpful to y'all, but I just had a lot of thoughts today. I told you I was very excited about this episode. But the gentleman O.J. Simpson, okay? I wasn't even alive during this lifetime. So O.J. Simpson, his story about how he was found not guilty in the criminal trial, but he was found guilty in the civil trial for killing his wife and the Goldman boy. So at that time, back in 97, the judgment was posted for $33.5 million that OJ would have had to owe to the Goldman family. Did the Goldman family ever get any money? No, because where was OJ's money? It was protected. It was within life insurance. It was within these specifically protected assets that he held. So another reason lawsuits, God forbid, and I'll tell you what my dad always says, the farther your ass is up on the flagpole, the bigger the target's going to be. So you got to protect yourselves. Oh my goodness, let me tell you this. My ADD is just kind of going off. I just learned I was listening to a what would you call him? Maybe he is like a trust attorney, tax guy. Anyways, I was listening to him talk. Did y'all know that out of the 7 billion people here on the planet, 300 to 350 million live in the United States, okay? So out of the United States, we hold roughly 5% of the world population. Do you know how many lawsuits come just from the United States? 90%. 90% of the entire world's lawsuits come from the United States of America. Isn't that effing nutty? So that's why I just think it's so important that we hone in a lot of emphasis on protecting the money, because you don't know what kind of lawsuits, judgment, liens are going to come through to you in your lifetime. But back to the OJ story. So actually OJ passed away this year, March 10th of 2024. And a lot of people didn't know this. I didn't know this. I don't follow OJ closely, but I guess he had prostate cancer for a while and he passed away this year due to it. So what is going to be, or what's going to happen to the money that OJ owes to that family? A lot of people are asking that. So a few days after his death, OJ's attorney, which is now his executor of OJ's estate, made a claim that he hopes the family gets no money. And there was a lot of backlash about that statement that was made to the public. Because if you think about it, the executor has a duty to protect OJ's estate. However, he also has a fiduciary responsibility to be true and act of best interest. So if he's found liable for, kind of doing some hacks or whatever, right, that he may be personally liable for this. I also thought what was really interesting from this article I was reading that, back then in 97, it was a judgment of 33.5 million. Now it's 114 million due to the interest that was occurred during that time. So, at this time, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe at the time that this podcast episode publishes, thank you, Daisy. I wasn't recording an episode or anything, but at the time that this episode launches, maybe we'll know a little bit more, but I'm really going to be following closely to the story. So with that being said, I know I've been freaking flapping my gums here for like the past hour or so. So I appreciate all of y'all. I'm going to do a part 2 to this episode, bringing my professionals on, and then we can kind of really have a good conversation around it. But with that being said, I think that's all my thoughts for right now. I just wanted y'all to start thinking about some things that you probably don't want to think about, but it's important to start thinking about. And I hope to see y'all, okay? So coming up, the Money Multiplier Mastermind. Come and hang out with us for a little bit. Love live music. So come and have a dance party with me. Let's shake our little booties all together. And until then, I'll see y'all next time. And Daisy saying goodbye too. I'll catch y'all later. Bye, everybody.